There are days we remember. Days that shape us, ruin us, or rebirth us. And then there are turning points. This is the story of one. Elliot Ward was 42 years old when he realized his life was no longer his own. A failed playwright. A failed husband. A man with more unopened letters than memories worth keeping. He sat in a chair stained with time, his bare feet brushing against a pile of bills, and stared at the only thing that hadn't left him, his typewriter. The clack of keys had once meant hope. Now it meant avoidance. 10 years ago, Elliot's name had lit up a marquee in downtown Manhattan. A delicate collision had opened to standing ovations and reviews soaked in praise. And yet, success was brief. The place that followed lacked heart, or perhaps Elliot had misplaced his somewhere along the way. He was now teaching night classes to disinterested undergrads, sipping stale coffee, and writing reviews of off-Broadway shows under a pseudonym. He'd become a ghost in his own life. And then the email arrived. It was from a small literary retreat in Vermont, a place he'd forgotten he'd applied to years ago. They wanted him to give a talk. Not on success, but on failure. He almost deleted it. Almost. He packed nothing but 3 shirts, his grandfather's flask, and a copy of his first play. Something pulled him toward the cold, leaf-drenched hills of Vermont. Maybe guilt. Maybe hope. The retreat was a converted farmhouse, filled with half-published poets and self-important novelists. Elliot hated it. And yet, something about the smell of ink, the soft hum of ambition, made his fingers itch. When it was his turn to speak, Elliot didn't prepare a lecture. He simply walked to the front and said, "Failure isn't falling. It's staying down because you don't think you're worth getting back up." That night, over whiskey and ash-stained laughter, he met Claire. 26, brilliant. Brutal. She told him his early work had changed her life. He told her she was too young to be ruined by admiration. Claire, softly. "Why'd you stop writing the way you used to?" Elliot. "Because I started writing for applause instead of truth." Over the next few days, Elliot began to write again. Not for critics, not for stages. But for the aching boy who once believed words could save him. He wrote about the nights he slept in his car. The moment his wife left with nothing but a note and his favorite coffee mug. He wrote about fear, about rage, about forgiveness. They read each other's words like scripture. She wrote about her brother's overdose. He wrote about not calling his father before he died. Pain, traded like currency. Healing, sewn between syllables. Elliot, reading. "Dear Marian, this isn't an apology. It's an acknowledgement. You loved a version of me I hadn't yet become. I'm still trying to be him." It was the first time he had written to his ex-wife since the divorce. On the final night, they read from their work. Some cried. Some laughed. When it was Elliot's turn, he paused. The firelight caught his face in flickers. Elliot, reading from a new script. "I used to think turning points were loud. A kiss in the rain. A car crash. But sometimes, they're silent. A sentence that lands differently. A stranger who sees you. A breath held, then released. Audience silent. Then applause. But this time, Elliot doesn't soak it in. He closes the notebook, eyes warm. Back in the city, Elliot didn't return to his old habits. He returned to himself. He mailed the letter to Marian. He called his brother. He deleted the folder called Next Big Thing and renamed it Now. 6 months later, Elliot's new play opened in a theater that smelled of wet paint and cheap red wine. It was about a man who had nothing left to lose, and so, finally, found everything worth holding on to. There were no critics in the room. Just hearts, waiting to be broken and rebuilt. The turning point wasn't a moment. It was a series of choices. Small, defiant acts of becoming. Elliot Ward didn't find success again. He found something better. Peace. If you enjoyed the story, make sure you smash that like button, leave a comment, subscribe, and turn on notifications to help the channel. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next story.